Time for the Enduro, a first in triathlon, and we are underway. A clean start in the women's race here in Jersey, and already there's people getting chopped up and moving across the back of the field, and someone mid-pack there, and is it Sophie Caldwell has got a nice start again, just as she did yesterday. She's got the blue jersey on because she's the quickest swimmer out there, and she's showing it early in this one, but a nice spread across the field, and look at that, discipline 1 of 9, if you can believe that. Chris McCormack, his brain is twisted, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing, her start. Her get-out speed is far superior. We saw it yesterday. She had 2 body lengths, and here she is in clear water again, and it could set up her entire race. So we're looking on the right of the field. That's Ashley Gentle, right of your screen, who was so good yesterday, who's finding herself well back in the field. It could be a very, very difficult place to be in.
Well, absolutely, and especially 2 people get eliminated after this swim. And, you know, Ashley is not known for her swimming ability, and it's pretty easy to get caught up there in the back, and there's not much room or time to swim up through the field. So that's something on everybody's mind. No matter how good of a swimmer you are, you don't want to end up back there.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very short race for 2 of those 3 women potentially who are already at the back and already losing ground on the field. We're not sure who they are, but we'll try and keep you updated on that as they come out of the water. But it'll be a 3-minute swim in a very short day for 2 of those athletes, and we will continue to do that every time. We call it the Hunger Games of triathlon, and that is exactly what it is. Sophie Caldwell leads around the first turn buoy, a group of 4 behind her. I can see Cassandra Beaugras on the outside of them. Summer Cook in the red, you can see behind that group as well. I see Megan Foley, Erin Story as well, and pushed out wide. A couple of different athletes, Elena Danilova there, not too far from screen, and I'm not sure who that is. Leonie Perriot bringing up the back. So not too long to go now. They'll turn the next buoy and they'll head back towards home. And already there's danger for some of these athletes as the field strings out a fair way. Not too much room asked or given from these athletes.
So there's Katie sitting second, Sophie leading, and then next to Katie could have been Emma Jeffcoat.
Yeah, Emma's spectacular in the open water. It is Emma Jeffcoat for the inside line around that buoy.
I could see Cassandra also sitting nicely just behind Katie, so she'll be safe through. Summer Cook there. You can see Summer, she has a neoprene cap under her race swim cap, and that's just to keep her a little bit warmer in the cool water. The water temperature might have dropped actually since yesterday, around 17, maybe even 16 Celsius, which that's pretty chilly.
That was Emma Jeffcoat too in the number 22. So she's been strong, certainly in this year's been a great year for her. World Cup wins, multiple ones. We saw her at the front of the pack in the Gold Coast race a couple of weekends ago, and she is turning into a complete athlete. There is no doubt about that. Sophie Caldwell, though, she knows how to swim. She did this yesterday, and they are great shots off our boom cam on the pole. We can get as close as we need to get, and that is a great shot of a great stroke from Sophie Caldwell.
She doesn't seem to be swimming as much urgency as she did yesterday. She knows she's got a long day ahead of her. There's no breaks, and she's setting her race up right here.
Well, and there's also no short shoot today.
Exactly.
So for Sophie, there's no huge advantage of leading out of the water. She's not going to get that little shortcut through transition. So she may as well relax as much as she can right now and then have a nice group to ride with.
Behind her, I think it's Jeffcoat, Cook and Zafira. So 2 of the Americans and Australian behind Sophie Caldwell. There is Cook in the red. A slip there from Jeffcoat behind them. I think I see Holland there coming up through, and another slip. Very slippery out there conditions. Rachel Clemmer goes past. Charlotte McShane, Joanna Brown too.
And who's this at the back?
They come out of the water, and here is the real race in the back.
Okay, there we see Ashley safe.
Ashley safe, Desiree Ryden is safe. Who is that? I think that's Leonie Perriot, is it? And who is that? Sarah Alexander, the 31-year-old from the US, and they could be the first to feel the sting of the elimination of the Enduro. Claire Michelle turns for home. No, Perriot is there, Ryden is there, and that is Elena Danilova alongside Sarah Alexander, who it looks like will have her day finish. But out on the bike, Sophie Caldwell leads ahead of Zafiris and Jeffcoat, and there is the yellow flag at the top of our screen, means that the day is over for Danilova and Alexander. And look at the disappointment, even from this distance, on the faces. That hurts.
That hurts a lot. That's actually cruel.
Who could have thought of that?
Yes. Ouch.
The same applies now for the last two across the line in this bike course. So staying out of trouble here for those girls at the back is critical. Moving up is key.
Zafiris takes the run up past the graffiti wall we saw earlier. She has such a great engine on her. Danielle DiFrancesco, the Australian, there ahead of Kirsten Casper, so Georgia Taylor-Brown, and there is Charlotte Machine, Rachel Clammer, and Claire Michelle all on her own, so she'll be looking to join the back of that bike pack because there are some gusting winds out there.
Jody Simpson on fair way back with Ashley Gentle.
Yep, you could see actually, I could see Ashley as she exited the water. You could tell there was definitely some urgency to get out of that water and up of that ramp, to be eliminated. So here for Katie, I mean, her tactic today, she needs to try and isolate Cassandra. I mean, Cassandra is such a phenomenal runner and swimmer, and Katie, she's consistent and really good over the three, but she has an amazing bike leg, so she really needs to use that today if she wants to try and win the overall here.
And we saw her yesterday. She was a lot stronger in that third stage yesterday, and she seems to be an athlete that's like a diesel engine, and I think recovering from yesterday's event, she may come into this race a lot stronger than we saw yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think she's going to get better and better as this Enduro goes on, and even yesterday in the last triple mix, she rode 20 plus seconds faster than Cassandra. So yeah, she's really going to get into it, and she has to just really go for it today, but be tactically wise as well.
Well, you've got a good ally there in Sophie Caldwell. You know, she's going to do some work. Emma Jeffcoat, who won our qualifying event, and Posnan is right there. Who's that on third? Oh, Cassandra right there in fourth wheel, who won yesterday's triple mix. So that's a good front group. They'll close that down, the group behind.
So a group of 5 or so and a little bit of a gap to Casper, Brown, Cook and McShane, but already the field stringing out considerably. So let's keep in mind that 90-second rule as we progress through this 4 laps on the bike. There is Erin Story, who's trying desperately to catch up to a couple of the young athletes ahead of her because she does not want to find herself having to do the work by herself. There's a couple behind her as well, and we'll see who they are. They're coming off through transition at the moment. The pain on the face knowing that they're in danger. Claudia Seebock there at the back, and they're getting let know, and they're being told that they are at the back and they are at risk, so they need to do everything they can to bridge that gap. Megan Foley and Claudia Seebock, the American and the Hungarian, in 21st and 22nd, but up the pointy end, still it's Katie Zafiris.
So Katie, this is exactly what she needs to do, and she really needs to keep her foot on the gas, because I think you can see back there it's been a split, and Cassandra is being dropped off. So Katie has to keep going. I think the other 2 girls really need to come around her and help push the pace here. They can't just sit there on Katie's wheel and expect her to drag them around.
And this is good tactical racing by Katie. When you think about it, if you can establish a front group, you can start to focus on what's going on ahead, and you don't put yourself in difficult positions as these disciplines start to unravel and you suddenly find yourself in a position to be eliminated. We're going to lose, 16 athletes today. So as it gets later into this course, you don't want to be at the back of that field in any way, and if you get isolated in a group, it could be game over.
Yeah, absolutely. And also at the front, you get to ride your own lines and see everything in front of you, so there's no worry about getting caught up into a crash. And Katie will go around this U-turn coming up, and she'll be able to see that she's actually split and put Cassandra under big pressure. And she really needs to just keep this momentum and hopefully, you know, shout some words at the other girls to get moving and give her some help up there.
To the last lap of this bike course, and these girls later, as I said, these girls later in, Summer Cook in particular, could find themselves in trouble when we get through to the next swim and the next bike course, because if they get picked up by this group behind and alienate themselves, there's Ashley Gentle, who was third yesterday, in a risk position.
Already we're seeing gaps of up to 30 seconds and another very lonely lap for Erin Story, one of our qualifiers from Penticton. And she's finding the going tough out there at 38 seconds behind as it stands, and a fair way behind her. We're still waiting on Claudia Seebock and Megan Foley, who are all having a difficult time of it across the cobblestones and then into transition as we move into bike lap 3 of 4, and they are very much in danger, these two, of ending their race early and joining Elena Danilova and Sarah Alexander in the recovery area much earlier than they would have liked. Up in the saddle, Claudia Seebock, one of our younger athletes from Hungary, our sole athlete from Hungary as well, who I guess it's a great experience and a big learning curve against such a strong field.
Well, she was spectacular in the qualifier in Poznan we had in June, and she finished 5th there. It's definitely a step up in racing with these women. They're the best in the world, and it's a fantastic learning curve for her, and she can come to the next event in Malta and try and move up from there.
Yeah, so this front group is established nicely now. Katie's still in the front doing a ton of work. Really going to the last lap of the bike. And you'll see Katie, she has her cap and goggles, and a few others also do this in the front of their suits, and that's just to save time in transition.
Also in triathlon.
In triathlon, yes. So kind of what they're doing right now. And just one less thing to worry about, because they'll have a box in transition that they need to put their helmet and cap and goggles in between each transition. So if it's in your suit, less thing to worry about, and you won't lose it accidentally.
Cassandra has been well and truly dropped from that front group. She's in a group of 2 behind and could be picked up by this larger group. I know she has a spectacular run leg. We saw that yesterday. She was by far fastest on foot, but she's got some work to do.
She is, and this is the first time she's showing a bit of weakness. Yesterday, the girls weren't able to exploit her weakness on the bike. But today, I think they saw what happened yesterday and were like, right, if we want a chance of winning this, we've got to get to work.
Okay, on to bike lap 4 of 4. We keep seeing that same shot of Erin Story. At the front, though, is Katie Zafiris, Emma Jeffcoat of Australia, Sophie Colwell off a great swim alongside Georgia Taylor-Brown, 3rd in the world in the WTS series. Kirsten Casper, who was 4th, she's there as well. And then a gap, Joanna Brown joins that group of 6, and then a gap back to Cassandra Beaugrand and Danielle Di Francesco, the 24-year-old from Australia, who is a fantastic swimmer and is benefiting by being up there near the front, courtesy of that great swim. I noticed on that 3rd lap of the bike, she still hadn't put her feet in the shoes, so she's not even bothering to do that, which hurts, because you only get the push on the pedals then. You don't get the pull on the way back up, but obviously that's a decision that she's made at some point. Or maybe they've slipped out and gone back in, who knows. But she had the bare feet out on the turn at the bottom after 3, but I guess this kind of racing happens so fast. We've seen a lot of mistakes, actually, from people who you wouldn't expect. Katie Zafiris made a little error there, didn't she, yesterday, which you picked up on, Flora?
Yeah, yesterday, after chatting with the girls after the race, you can see them coming off the bike here. Katie ran out with her running shoes still on as she was trying to jump on the bike yesterday, and Emma Jeffcoat did the same thing and actually rode the entire second portion of the bike with her running shoes on over her cycling shoes.
So she was pressing down on the top of her cycling shoes with her running shoes on.
Yeah.
Such is the mental strain of having to work out what's going on out there, I suppose.
Yeah, which would have felt absolutely horrible, not to mention super unsafe as you're going around these corners. You're just totally off balance, and oh man.
Right,
pretty funny though.
Yeah, pretty funny, I suppose, in retrospect, once it's all said and done. But we're through transition, and we're going to see 2 people drop again this time. Katie Zafiris leads from Sophie Colwell, Emma Jeffcoat, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Kirsten Casper and Joanna Brown, and they're going to look to push the pace and maybe shell a few people outside of the 90-second gap. There's Ashley General leading, Desiree Rydenart, Kate Woff, Jody Simpson, Leonie Perriot, Claire Michelle. And we're looking further back in the field, and there we go, the elimination flag, and in comes Megan Foley. We knew that she was in danger, and that really hurts for her. She nearly caught Erin Story, and she put everything into it and closed that gap up, but couldn't do it, and Claudia Seebock will be the next to come in as well, and when she does, she will also feel the sting of that yellow flag. Tough times.
Looking at yesterday's results, there's a lot of strong women who are in difficult positions now, in particular Jody Simpson, Ashley General are a long way back. Katie Zafiris has gone straight to the front. She's going to keep the pace going and really capitalise on this next swim. You're going to lose 2 now in this next run. So you're starting to get into the danger zone if you've drifted back in those first 2 disciplines.
Yeah, Katie looks incredibly strong today. Looks very calm, very focused out there, and obviously has come out highly motivated to really open it up on this first leg and sort of set the authority and really take the race by her own hands and shape it as she wants it to.
These 2 looking like they are conserving a little bit. They look very steady in their run legs. They look, Katie Zafiris especially, like she knows exactly how much she needs to push it, and she doesn't want to end up pushing it at all into that red zone and having trouble when it comes to 2 or 3 more disciplines, because we are essentially at the end of a triathlon here. This is the run leg, but we're not running at home. We're just running into another triathlon and then another one after that. So
Katie's in complete control. You got Georgie Taylor-Brown at the back here, along with Kirsten Casper and Emma Jeffco. That's a power swimming group. It really is. You have some fantastic swimmers. Katie's got a fantastic ally in Sophie Caldwell for this next swim. If she can keep it together, they could escape on this next swim, bike and run. Yeah,
Katie looks great. And you know what? I don't think Katie's scared to go on it on her own. You know, she's definitely strong enough and confident enough to just say, you know what? I can just solo this. I have that diesel engine. I know I get stronger as the race goes on, and you know, why not?
We were speaking earlier on before the telecast about how when someone challenges or puts it to Katie Zafiris, that's when she responds with her best racing. And if she can go along with someone like Sophie Caldwell on a swim, as you say, like, she can really dig into that diesel engine and find a way to really put time into the rest of the field if she has an ally out there. And Sophie Caldwell's a great one when you consider how good her swim can be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see when they come through transition now to see what the split is back to Cassandra, if she's making any inroads, or if maybe yesterday took a little bit more out of Cassandra than we perhaps thought.
We should mention, of course, that, for example, if Katie Zafiris comes first in this one and Cassandra Beaugrand comes second, they end up on equal points. It will come down to, in terms of the podiums in the end, the best position in the Enduro today. So if anyone finishes on equal points at any point, and there is Cassandra Beaugrand coming in at 6th position and leading that little run group at the back.
Summer Cook has had a magnificent run. She was a good 10 or 15 seconds behind Cassandra going into that last transition, and she's moved right up through the field.
There is Cassandra Beaugrand, yesterday's winner, and as you say, Summer Cook ahead of Joanna Brown and Vicky Holland, who, by her own admission, didn't have her best racing yesterday and will be looking to rectify that. Rachel Clammer there looking, she always has a bit of a pain face on, ahead of the two Aussies there in Ash Gentle and Charlotte McShane. And this lot here will be looking to stay out of trouble as the disciplines continue. Danielle Di Francesco, Desiree Reidner there as well.
Now coming through, Jody Simpson wasn't sort of moving up the field as I expected her to be, and looks to be in a little bit of a trouble at the moment. Might be a bit of fatigue from yesterday and might take her a rounder to get into it. But yeah, she's going to have to be conscious of that.
It's very, very interesting to see how this recovery has happened. I was expecting a lot more from a Jody Simpson.
Yeah, you know, I guess the long year of racing, and maybe she had to go deeper than we thought yesterday and just struggling to get going again. But Katie, yeah, she's looking great. You can see Georgia Taylor-Brown has overtaken Sophie Caldwell. So hopefully she can bridge up to Katie, because Georgia is also an excellent ally, both in the water and on the bike.
Looking so strong, and she just takes a little glance at the big screen, which allows her to see how far behind everybody is. So she's a canny racer, and she knows how to use her surroundings to her best advantage. Now that she's done the U-turn up the roundabout of peril, she'll be able to see how strung out the rest of the field is. And you can see there's some fair gaps opening up through the back end of the top 10, and there is Ashley Gentle just running past in the other direction. But Katie Zafiris looks, well, she's very much a tactical racer. She puts a lot of thought into how she's going to do things, which means that, you know, that mistake she made yesterday is that'll no doubt have played on her mind, and she will have spent last night in the hotel room making sure she gets everything completely right. I've seen on Instagram that her practicing her changes in the hotel room. She knows that every single second counts, having been here and done this before, especially when you're up against the likes of Cassandra Beaugrand, that run length that she can produce. But it certainly looks like Katie Zafiris is thinking all the way through this. She's thinking a way through this race.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the mistake she made yesterday of running out of transition with her running shoes still on before she jumped on her bike would have lost her probably about 10 seconds. And those seconds would have really counted when she was head-to-head with Cassandra going into that final run leg.
Well, for a lot of athletes at the back of the pack, the safety blanket has just come off, because Erin Story of the USA has come through on her first lap of the run, more than 90 seconds back, and she has been eliminated, which means at the end of this run, 2 more athletes are going to be eliminated, and there is a group of them. That puts Danielle Di Francesco of Australia currently, and Desiree Reidner of Canada in the firing line. But they're only a few seconds behind Sophie Chase, Kate Wong, Jody Simpson and Leonie Perriot. So we're going to see a group come over and sprint to this dismount line to try and avoid being eliminated. But at the moment, coming into transition first and about to head off on her second of 3 triathlons, if you don't mind today, is Katie Zafiris ahead of Georgia Taylor-Brown, Kirsten Casper, who has also overtaken late Sophie Caldwell, and Cassandra Beaugrand alongside Summer Cook, who are trying to bridge up to that lead group as they go back out on the swim. Back of screen, you can see Vicky Holland there behind Joanna Brown, Emma Jeffcoat and Ashley Gentle, who's moved up.
Big run from Ashley Gentle. That was a run for desperation. She's put herself back in this race, and fantastic racing from Ash.
Charlotte Machine comes across the line. Plenty of paint on her face, as well as Claire Michelle just ahead of her. And there are athletes in danger here, and that includes Jody Simpson. She's going to be through. She crosses, she gets the thumbs up.
Yeah, but she's dangerously close to the back of this race, and she doesn't have a good swim.
I think it looks like it's going to be Sophie Chase crosses, Danielle Di Francesco and Desiree Reidner. We're just going to see in just a second if they can come around the corner. There's Desiree Reidner, and they look around.
We look for the yellow flag.
And there is the yellow flag, and that is disappointing for her. And behind her...
Oh, I don't think she knew she was at the back. But
that's the disadvantage of being behind. We lost one athlete with the 90-second rule, and suddenly you think you're 3 from the back, and you are last. You are them back 2, so both of them eliminated.
Yep, there's a lot to think about in this race.
That hurts for Di Francesco, and it hurts for Reidner as well. Of course, they wouldn't have known that Erin Story was eliminated, so you need to give yourself a buffer of a few athletes if you're going to stay safe. And they're coming down into the swim now, and I think Alistair Brownlee is down there. Ali, what's happening?
So we've got Katie Zafares at the front of the race, and she's got the luxury of being able to control her pace now. The big one that's missed this split at the front is Beaugrand, and she's going to have to swim really hard to get on. And I think she probably will go on, but what's that going to cost us? So I think it's really interesting and an absolutely crucial point in the race. And these girls at the back, that's Jody Simpson just dived in. You know, they are at risk of the elimination. Pretty sure this is Kate Watt coming down. I think, is she the last one in the race now? I can't tell from down here.
Yeah, she's the last one.
I think Sophie Chase is behind her. Is she? If she is, she's quite a way behind. We'll see. But a little smile from Katie Watt to Ali Brown.
She's enjoying herself, obviously.
Yeah. Well, she saw you in a life jacket, and that's never happened before.
Yeah, we can see that Beaugrand has gone straight to the front of that group, I think. So she's pushing pretty hard, and I think they're just going out of shot now. So I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on. Go over to the swim exit, and we'll try and get you to call them out as well. But there we can see the leaders in the swim, and just how far there is between everyone already. We're going to see more people fall into the 90-second rule. There is no question about that whatsoever.
Is that Kirsten Casper who's moved up into second position? It is. She's had a magnificent day, and with her race yesterday, she's in a position to potentially stick with to move right up onto the podium, because I see Sophie Caldwell in the blue and Summer Cook.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, Georgia Taylor Brown alongside Sophie Caldwell there, which is not a bad place to be. But yeah, you're right, Kirsten Casper, she always just seems to fly a little bit under the radar, Kirsten Casper, and then pop up when you least expect her, and that's exactly what's happened here. She's on the feet of Katie Zafares and enjoying that position as well, and looking comfortable in the swim. And you can see that each of them in the swim are just conserving a little bit. We're probably not going to see that when it comes around to the next swim, but certainly in this one as they head back towards home. Not too far to go now, and there is Caldwell at the top of your screen, and now a little bit wider is Georgia Taylor Brown.
You can see still there Cassandra. She's at the back of this group. Sort of swimming there next to Jeffcoat, who's just behind Sophie Caldwell. So she's not... Well, no, maybe they are making a little bit of an inroads to them. It's hard to tell from this angle.
Kirsten Casper's positioned herself perfectly behind Katie Zafares here. She's had a free sit in this swim. She's going to get dragged up. We know Katie swims very, very well, so it's been a nice, relaxing swim for her, if there is such a word in Super League racing, relaxing. And the pressure's now on that group behind to close this gap.
Yeah, that was a very sneaky move by Kirsten, just to sort of slide in there, and I'm hoping that, you know, she comes out motivated and will work with Katie on the bike.
All right, Ali, they're coming towards you. Katie Zafares first out of the water, Kirsten Casper behind.
Yeah, Kirsten Casper is in the absolute perfect position here. Got straight on Zafares' feet, and hopefully he managed to get a bit of a breath back before it kicks off again. We can see the group behind. You know, this is a crucial point for Beaugrand. If she wants to keep herself in this race, I think she's going to have to fly up through transition. That's Zafares just stumbling. Lots of people. Casper looking great, to be fair. I think she's in a fantastic position. This ramp out the swim has actually been crucial. Summer Cook just in the water now. That's Sophie Caldwell. I think, you know, she could push on this technical bike. Georgia Taylor Brown has just sat in in a great position so far. And there's Beaugrand with Vicky Holland just behind her. I think if Beaugrand wants to keep herself in the Super League, she's got to make a big move now in this next few minutes, going out onto the bike.
Thanks, Ali. Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on down there. There's Ash Gentle coming out of the water. Who else can you see down there? Who's coming out now?
Well, just seen Gentle coming out the water, and she's not in danger of elimination yet, but I think her race for the win is probably over. You know, that's an inassailable gap to make up. Perriot and McShane just coming out and heading up the ramp, and that ramp is brutal. I don't think TV does it justice. I mean, they're hardly moving that fast up it. Chase and Simpson just heading onto the ramp, and this is Kate Wharf. I think unfortunately her day's over. She's well eliminated. She's last on the field, and is probably 90 seconds down as well now anyway.
And here's a race between two. Thanks very much, Ali. There's a race between two here. Jody Simpson.
That's Jody Simpson out. She just got overtaken up that ramp.
Well, let's see. There's the yellow flag.
Oh, man, that's a big name out early.
Big elimination.
Oh, that hurts.
But this was
Sophie Chase hangs on and overtaken up the ramp. Jody Simpson, she just looked down at the receding figure of Sophie Chase, and she was not happy whatsoever.
Not happy.
Sophie Chase was committed up that ramp. You heard Ali say it's a very steep run from swim to the top of the road here, and she had a committed attack to get Jody and did it.
Yeah, and I think this was, well, part of the reason this rule was put in is that you want to try and catch out some of the top names that maybe don't have the best start, and just, creates a lot of drama. And there we go, Jody's day is done. Alongside
countrywoman Kate Moff as well, her new. And then hang on, Sophie Chase has stopped in transition as well. She's not sure what's happened there.
That was a 90-second rule. We'll have to get some timing updates to see.
Not sure, but they've stopped Sophie Chase as well. So 3 people have stopped there. And timing doesn't say that they were behind the 90-second rule, so we'll wait for confirmation on that.
So here's the front of the race. So hopefully, I mean, the bits of racing I've done with Kirsten Casper, she's not super useful sometimes on the bike. Hopefully she's motivated to help Katie here, because this is sort of their ticket to going 1-2 right now. They really need to be each other's allies and work this bike course.
When you think of the last, 5 disciplines, Katie Safaris has been on the front for the last bike course, the entire run, that entire swim. She has got a committed mindset today. She knows that gap's huge. That's the entire straight.
Yeah.
That is going to hurt people on the 90-second rule, because these two, if they can work together, and certainly Katie Zafaris, who has seen her dominance in Jersey questioned by Cassandra Beaugrand yesterday, thought, I'm going to go from full gas from the beginning and I'm going to take someone with me, and that's what she's done. Georgia Taylor-Brown at the start of a pack of 6 who are trying to track them down. Summer Cook, Sophie Colwell in there as well.
Oh yeah, Cassandra, she looks vulnerable there, hanging on the back of the pack. A bit of a gap opened on that corner.
Yeah, she doesn't look as relaxed as she did yesterday, without question.
No,
she's struggling.
She's under pressure, and she knows it.
I suppose, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the triple mix, I guess, plays into the hands of maybe a younger athlete who can recover quicker after short bursts of high-intensity racing, whereas this, it's called the Enduro for a reason, and we know that as athletes get older, they get into their 30s or their early 30s, which, sorry, I know it's your birthday and you turn 31, is not old, it's just older than Cassandra Beaugrand. You know, they move into longer distance racing and they excel in longer distance racing, and this is, I guess, the short course version of long distance racing when you go 3-3-3.
And with this Enduro, you have to recover from yesterday's triple mix. You've got to go hard from the beginning. You're dropping a lot of lactate into the blood, and then you've got to actually hold on, which is what makes it even more difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, if I were Katie here, Casper doesn't look like she's coming to the front at all. I would just attack her and drop her. She's not being useful, and
you're aggressive like that, aren't you, Duffy?
Yes.
You are aggressive like that. If you're not going to help me, get out of my way.
Exactly.
I like it. Confirmation that, in fact, our timing did update, and Sophie Chase was just on the wrong side of the 90-second rule as well. So that's why we saw 3 eliminated. The first time we knew we'd see it at some point in this race, more than 2 eliminated. The 90-second rule came into effect very early with Erin Story. Now Sophie Chase, 2 of the Penticton qualifiers, but that hurts a little bit in terms of their personal race, the Penticton qualifiers, if you can call it that. Sophie gets the better of her.
This is the biggest gap we've seen in the women's racing. Oh, here it is here.
Here's the overtake.
It's probably 90 seconds down as well now anyway.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Ali. We're just seeing the replay there of Sophie Chase trying to stay under that 90-second rule and overtaking Jody Simpson up the hill. But you can see the gap there, 20 seconds now between Casper and Zefiris.
You can see Vicky Holland in that group having a much better day than yesterday. She unfortunately started the triple mix with a bit of a fall on her bike.
The biggest name, though, to fall so far, is Jody Simpson. She's down with Annie Emerson.
Oh, Jody, such disappointment for you. The fans expected a lot more of you. Tell us where it went wrong today.
Yeah, expected a lot better of myself, to be honest, but I mean, it didn't really start well with Cassandra pushing off me on the pontoon rather than diving in herself. So that didn't start well. But then, to be honest, I was just cold. My muscles were just cold. No excuse, the girls are out there racing hard. So, my muscles were just cold.
Tell us about the ramp. What happened there? You looked like you attacked it well, but you got caught 2/3 of the way up.
Oh, yeah, to be honest, muscles just seized up, to be honest. Ever since I got onto the bike, my legs were just not there. Nothing I could do about it, I'm afraid. So, sorry, Jersey, but that's all I had.
We know you'll live to fight another day, Jody. Sorry. Okay, bye.
Don't worry, it'll be much warmer in Malta in a month's time, and then Majorca. Thank you very much to Chris McCormack for organising those races in warmer climes, but we're certainly enjoying the sun coming out now in Jersey, and certainly enjoying it the most. Kirsten Casper and Katie Zefiris, who are putting a lot of time now.
Huge time. This second group needs to get organised, or someone needs to come to the front and commit, because Katie Zefiris has said, I'm going for it. I am going to lay it down. I'm going to set this race up now. If I've got company, I'll take it. But these girls have to do something.
It was 20 seconds the gap at the end of the previous lap on the bike, and we'll find out in just a second. There's another 5 seconds have been put into them just around that kilometre or so on the bike as well. So certainly the pair of Casper and Zefiris, and Casper doing, well, I guess not the lion's share of the work. Zefiris has been doing all the work at the front. Joanna Brown desperately trying to bridge that gap, and
Ash Gentle and Rachel Clammer.
Now, not what's happened to Charlotte McShane. She's fallen off the pace a bit. She was with Ash not too long ago, but Rachel Clammer's come up to the back of Ashley Gentle's wheel.
So is this the back of the race here that we have coming through to the U-turn now?
Brown's 35 seconds back. Gentle, Clammer, McShane, Michelle, Leonie Perriot, and we're starting to look in quite a bit of danger towards the 90 seconds for anyone who's finishing behind Leonie Perriot, no matter that 2 of them will be eliminated as well at the back of this race.
Katie Zefiris has just lit this entire second triathlon leg up, and she has put some very, very strong athletes into some danger now.
Yep, she has, and looks great. And I think out of the 2 of them, Katie's a slightly stronger runner. Oh, see, Casper's coming to the front now.
She did do a turn. She did do a turn.
Yeah, real nice short turn there at the end. That doesn't earn you
nice of her, isn't it?
Doesn't earn you too many friends. But,
there'll be a discussion between the Americans in the locker room after this, I imagine.
Yep. But I mean,
that's the way I would do it, to be fair.
No.
Just get on the glory run on the last bit and come into transition in front.
It's just you don't have to do a turn, right? It's not in the rules. It's a tactical game. The girls are out there the women are out there to win, and you don't have to do a turn. It's just polite, correct?
I think there's a bit of strategy there involved. I mean, I think these 2 want to get the biggest gap on this group, right? So taking a few turns is not going to take too much energy out of you, and I think you race against these girls all year round. You kind of want to have a few allies. You don't want to build up too much bad blood and be known for the person that just sort of sits on the wheels and doesn't help.
Well, this is a very, very important run now for a lot of these women. I think Summer Cook in the last run leg was spectacular. It's good to see Vicky Holland, our world champion, right in the mix this time.
Here comes Clammer and Gentle, who've been glued to each other for the last couple of laps of the bike, and already they're a fair way down the field, and they'll be looking in danger. Look at the pain on Rachel Clammer's face as she racks the bike.
Charlotte looks to be in a bit of pain as well.
Here is the yellow flag, and we'll look at the back of the pack and see who it is that has ended their race. Leonie Perriot of France. She will play no further part, and Charlotte McShane and Ash Gentle are now the ones that are in maximum danger at the end of this run. The 2 Australians.
Yeah, and it's Claire Michelle, I think, that was eliminated also. I can't see, but these 2 now are in very big danger on this run course.
Yeah, so Ashley really needs to have a good run leg, otherwise she could potentially be out of the race.
Claire Michelle, such an accomplished athlete, an Olympian, 2-time Belgian National Triathlete of the Year, finished 5th in Yokohama, probably her best result WTS series-wise, and someone of her class and experience at 29 years old has been spat out the back of this race in 13th and 14th position alongside Leonie Perriot. But meanwhile, at the other end, Katie Zafiris has decided that she probably doesn't need the help of Kirsten Casper on the run, so she is off.
She probably got a little bit annoyed from the bike ride and said, you know what, if you're not going to help me next time round, I'm going to jump in this swim, I'm going to open up a gap, and I'm going to ride alone.
Yeah, exactly, and that's just going to leave Casper isolated for the next bike leg. See, it pays to help a little bit. Pays to help.
You see, it's all right that Chris McCormack says that now. I don't remember him being the most polite out there on the course in his racing days, but it's all right from the comfort of the commentary box.
Yeah, it's called racing, Will.
Racing, of course, of course.
The objective is to win.
Yeah, but here, looking at Katie, I mean, she still looks great, still looks in control, still very focused, and I think going into this last little mini... Well, not mini, this little round.
Yes.
Last triathlon.
The last triathlon that they have to do after the first two triathlons that we've made them do.
But they are all mini, but I think she's just going to step it up a gear, and she's got nothing to lose.
You need to look for Ashley Gentle. It was both Charlotte McShane and Ashley Gentle who are in the danger positions. Ashley is entering her strongest discipline, the run. We saw that yesterday in the triple mix. She was outside of Cassandra, the strongest on foot. So she has a lot of work to do. I think she was giving the front group about 8 or 9 seconds, and she has to move up.
Yep, and if she does, that puts Rachel Palmer and potentially Joanna Brown in danger.
Yes.
Cassandra Beaugrand in 7th position coming through, and Summer Cook ahead of Rachel Clammer, Ashley Gentle. But it's moved considerably. I think Cassandra Beaugrand has moved up, if I'm right, into 3rd position. So she has stepped on the gas. She knows that the 2 Americans are disappearing ahead of her, and Katie Zafiris, if she takes maximum points, has every chance in the world of stealing the $20,000 US prize and the win in Jersey away from Cassandra Beaugrand, who was so good. She'll need to, first of all, Cassandra, move herself into 2nd position. But if they finish 1-2 with Zafiris in 1st position, she will win overall by virtue of being the Enduro winner. And there is Cassandra Beaugrand striding out ahead of Summer Cook. Vicky Holland has recently overtaken Georgia Taylor-Brown, Sophie Caldwell and Emma Jeffcoat, who a minute ago was in 3rd position. Looks like she's blowing up just a little bit as the others accelerate away from her. There is Emma Jeffcoat. And we're going to see 2 more eliminated, and we'll be down to 10 as we head into the final of 3 triathlons here under the now sunny skies of St Helier. Beaugrand trying desperately to catch up to, she can see now on that long straight, the 2 Americans ahead of her. Rachel Clammer doing her best to stay in this one. She's
Ashley Gentle's got her on the run.
And yes, Gentle has got her, so it looks like it could be Rachel Clammer, depending on what happens in the next 800 or so metres of this run.
Yep, so now Rachel and Charlotte McShane, they are both in the danger zone.
I think we can probably wave goodbye to Charlotte McShane. Valiant athlete that she is, the Australian.
So I'm curious if Katie knows that if she wins today and Cassandra is 2nd, Cassandra still wins the overall based off...
Oh, no. If she wins today and Cassandra is 2nd, Katie will win, even if they're on the equal number of points. The Enduro winner is in any tie break, the rankings breaker.
Okay, great. So then Katie really doesn't need to strategically keep somebody with her.
This morning we made sure all the athletes knew exactly what would happen in the event of a tie, so she knows that as long as she stays ahead of Cassandra Beaugrand, she will win Super League Jersey.
Okay, wow. Katie's definitely one to know all of the rules.
Yeah, and Cassandra knows the same thing as well, which is why I think she's decided she needs to kick, because if Katie disappears into the distance, it will be a 2nd place at best for Cassandra Beaugrand, depending on what happens with the other athletes out there. There is Kirsten Casper, who has been dropped off the back of Katie Zafiris, but she's had a fantastic race thus far, Kirsten Casper, no matter what Zafiris has done ahead of her.
And the general classification has really been blown to pieces. When you're looking at some of the athletes that were so strong yesterday in the triple mix, they're right out the back. Ashley Gentle in particular. Jody Simpson's already gone. Ash Gentle, Casper is gone. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in this next swim leg.
There's the gaps between 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vicky Holland sitting off the back of her compatriot. Plenty of support here from the Jersey crowd for the 2 Brits, but out the front and about to come in through transition once again and put a lot of people in danger of the 90-second rule elimination is Katie Zafiris. Charlotte McShane will come across as the back marker, but also outside the 90 seconds as it stands. So she'll be gone one way or the other, and then it's a race between Rachel Clammer, Ashley Gentle, and potentially Joanna Brown, depending on how her second lap was, to stay in this race. But Katie Zafiris, as we keep saying, has taken this enduro by the scruff of the neck. Not sure whether that's just an Australian expression, but it just means she's dominating, and she certainly is.
Yeah, she is. She looks great. So it'll be a smooth transition here into the water. It'll be interesting to see if Kirsten Casper can swim back up onto her feet again, or if she's starting to feel the enduro.
It's transitions now. Transitions are so critical. She was a lot quicker than Katie was through transition. She knows the feet are the best place to be, and she gets the free ride through the bike and set herself up for a big move up the general classification.
There is the gap back to Cassandra Beaugras, who will have seen Katie Zafiris come back past her with a swimming cap on and know exactly what she needs to do. Summer Cook ahead of Vicky Holland, who's having a much better day. Had a tough day out yesterday ahead of Georgia Taylor Brown, but I guess at this point we're heading into uncharted waters, and I'm not just saying that because we're getting into the water, it's because we've never done this before. We're getting into a third triathlon in a row, and we really don't know how these athletes are going to respond to this, and I think the athletes themselves don't know how they're going to respond to this.
Ash Gentle's moved right up, and that's how you respond. You have to move up, and that's the whole purpose of enduro racing, is moving up through the field and not getting caught out at the back.
Rachel Clammer showing the yellow flag, and her day is over, and she looks incredibly upset about it, and fair enough too.
Oh no.
Absolutely exhausted. She's given everything to this racing, has Rachel Clammer, and that is a tough.
Well, now in this swim, Ashley Gentle, not a strong swimmer. Jeff Coate is a good swimmer, so this is a danger position for Ash. She needs to move up.
Yeah, she is. It's a dangerous position for both of them, because realistically, Jeff Coate also needs to swim by somebody if she wants to be safe.
The yellow flag also for Charlotte McShane. So much effort to put in to not make it through to what could be the Super 6 at the end of this one if the eliminations continue, but there's just 10 athletes left in this field. Charlotte McShane's given everything, as has Rachel Clammer. Both incredibly well-credentialed athletes. Clammer, a two-time Olympian, had a win in Abu Dhabi this year in the Olympic distance.
Just got a quick glimpse there. You could see Kirsten Casper has moved right back up onto Katie's feet, so she's getting that nice free ride in the swim. I don't think Katie will be too bothered about that. I think she knows she's overall the stronger athlete. Well,
for Emma Jeffcoat, she's got Sophie Caldwell in front of her, so that's a very, very difficult person to pass in the water.
Yeah, she's got really good swimmers in front of her. I mean, you know, Cassandra is also ahead of her, and so is Summer Cook, so the likelihood of swimming anyone down is pretty slim.
Your top 10, just an update. Katie Zafiris and Kirsten Casper, both of the USA, lead this one out as we head into the final of 3 triathlons, back to back to back. As you can see, discipline 7 of 9. Cassandra Beaugras, the winner yesterday, looking to stay in contention for the top spot overall, 29 seconds back. Summer Cook, Vicky Holland, Georgia Taylor Brown, Sophie Caldwell, Emma Jeffcoat and Joanna Brown lead Ashley Gentle, who is at 10th placed female and the last left in this race. So 10 of 26. We've seen 16 eliminations already, and we're going to see 4 more before this race is over and someone runs it home and takes out potentially $20,000 US and the championship lead heading into round 2 of Super League Triathlon in Malta in 4 weeks' time. That is another instance of triathlon and Super League breaking new ground, heading to Malta, almost a completely new venue in terms of triathlon racing. And Macca, what can we look forward to there?
Well, without question, it's a beautiful course, but a very, very different course to the one here in Jersey. An uphill finish for the run, a tough bike course, and a lot warmer, I can assure you.
I don't know, I'm feeling pretty comfortable in here where we're sitting. Everything's okay for me.
Cassandra leading this group from Summer Cook.
It's about how much does Cassandra Beaugras have in the tank after yesterday. She won stage 1 of the triple mix. She won stage 2 of the triple mix. And then she finished by winning stage 3 of the triple mix. But we are overhead from Katie Zafiris. Another great shot from our camera there. You can see how close the camera's getting to our athletes.
Yeah, it's a pretty big gap back to this group of 4. And I think Katie is just going to take a little bit more time on the bike, which will give her, I mean, it was already 30 seconds starting this leg. I'd imagine by the run it'll be closer to 35, maybe even 40.
I don't think Katie knows how to go easy in this next leg. I think she's just going to put the hammer down. I think she wants to get rid of Kirsten Casper. I know Kirsten didn't do much. You don't want to set up a run. I don't think she has a stronger run, Kirsten Casper, as Katie Zafaris, but the danger for the girls behind, the women behind, is this lapped rule. And I know that we will finish with 6, but to finish third and be lapped to be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
We knew the field would string out. We weren't sure how much, but certainly with Katie Zafaris pushing the pace at the front and Kirsten Casper hanging in behind her, the gaps are extending. They've now been going full gas, if you like, for nearly 40 minutes with really high heart rates and staying just south of that red zone we talk about so much. To have that kind of intensity and continue it, and also remember all of the transitions, get everything right, remain accurate in your transitions, don't forget what you're doing next. And how hard do you imagine that would be, Flora Duffy?
Well, based off yesterday, I think very hard with people starting the bike with their running shoes on. But I saw Katie there dropping her cap and goggles into the basket. She no longer needs them, so why bother carrying them around anymore? And here they go, starting the bike together. And
how strong is US women's triathlon at the moment?
Oh my gosh.
You have the top 3 women here, all from the US.
Oh, here we go. This is close to the back of the race, yeah.
Yeah, it is. There's 3 women there. There's Joanna Brown trying to stay on the tail. And
Emma Jeffcoat had a magnificent swim. She came up with Sophie Caldwell, and Joanna Brown's been put into danger.
Yep, I think that's Joanna Brown and Ashley Gentle that'll be eliminated on this as they get to the dismount line.
Yeah, Ash Gentle, she's had such a good few weeks. She had a win in the grand final on the Gold Coast. She had a win at the Beijing Triathlon last weekend, but maybe the Enduro, after all of that racing and travelling, is just a bridge too far. And Joanna Brown, a bridge too far for her as well. She couldn't find the back of Sophie Caldwell, and despite a very valiant effort to arrive in the top 10 here, only the very best have managed to make it through. Joanna Brown, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist from Canada, her race is over. She'll still pick up a decent haul of points for finishing in the top 10. And Ashley Gentle as well, who was very strong in the triple mix at parts in times yesterday, has a little smile and knows that she's given it her best.
Yeah, poor Ashley. They're all worried about this elimination, and I'm sure she'll still be pleased with her day. Ashley, I don't think she particularly likes racing in the cold. It's very cold out there today.
Well, she'll be getting the jacket on and thinking about getting some recovery into her and warming down, although it shouldn't take too long. Lovely cornering on the bike from Katie Zafaris, considering how much work has been put in. There is 8 women left now in this race, and 2 legs to go. 4 laps on the bike and 2 on the run, and we'll crown our Enduro champion. At the moment, it looks to be out of Kirsten Casper and Katie Zafaris, the American pair. And when you look at the Americans and the English women, I suppose, are dominating, and as they have in racing in all formats across the year. Just been fantastic to see the UK and the US go head-to-head, and we're seeing it again today.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the 2 dominant countries right now in the women's sport and women's sport of triathlon. And I think, some of the results this year, you would see the top 10 was just Americans and just Brits.
Yeah, incredible. With Cassandra, the only woman I've seen this year to actually really challenge the women, and we saw that yesterday.
We saw the wry smile from Ashley Gentle as she was eliminated, and she's been so kind to talk to Annie Emerson right now.
Ashley, I'm really sorry for you. That's disappointment after yesterday's success.
Yeah, that's all right. I knew it would be really hard to back up, and the girls would be really going for it at the start. So unfortunately, didn't quite make 3 triathlons, but I gave it a shot.
You certainly look like you were pulling back on the run, but the swim in this format is always going to be a bit tough for you because it is your weakness, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just struggled out there a lot in the swim, and just kind of froze me for the bike and run too, so I didn't really feel like myself, but everyone's got to battle the same conditions, so yeah, good on the girls, still out there right now.
Okay, thanks very much, Ashley.
Poor Ashley, look
Ashley needs to go and put on about 5 jumpers, I think. She needs to go inside and find a heater immediately after all the effort that has been put in. And Emma Jeffcoat is now at the back of the field, and she is neck and neck with Sophie Caldwell, and they're both nearly 20 seconds behind. So it's going to be tough to bridge from there. But outside of that, Katie Zafaris leads from Kirsten Casper, and then the 2 bridge, Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vicky Holland.
And we saw a glimpse of the second group with Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vicky Holland. And Vicky actually looked very, very committed, smart. She sat herself second wheel. She just had that game face, that world champion game face on.
But these pair 50 seconds ahead at the last time through transition, and we'll find out whether they've continued to work together well and open up a further gap as we close in on 50 minutes of full gas racing here in the Enduro. And that is, for anyone who's done any kind of endurance training, they know how hard it is and how deep these women are digging. There is no doubt about that whatsoever, and I think it's a race in two at this point.
Yeah, I can just see out of our window Ashley like piling on the clothes. And yesterday I bumped into her after the race, and she was actually heading to the sauna to go sit in it for 5 minutes to warm up.
That's one way to warm up.
I know. She's like, I don't think it's the best for recovery, but I got to get warm.
Here is that group from 3rd through to 6th. Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vicky Holland, as we said, having a much better day out. Cassandra Beaugras, I think she was almost thinking that she'll have to try and lock in 3rd place rather than try and bridge to these two, because Katie Zafiris is looking as strong as we've ever seen her in this format. She's had a long, long year without any wins, despite finishing 2nd overall in the WTS series. She was relegated into 2nd. She had so many podiums in WTS racing. She didn't have a win. She didn't have a win yesterday behind Beaugras. Today is the day that Katie Zafiris, according to her at least, is going to finally stand on the top step, and she will also stand on the top step in terms of the overall round win as well, if she can take this win out. We'll have to do the math to see if she finishes 2nd behind Casper and Beaugras finishes 3rd, what the permutation is there in terms of championship points.
Oh yeah, that would be making
Let me get a pen.
life really hard
get a
for
pen
herself.
right now.
Are we going to rely on your math here?
Yeah, we are. Just give me a couple of minutes.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't see that happening though. I think when Katie gets a little bit of a sniff of the wind, like the situation she is right now, and she's the stronger runner, and I think this is her element. She loves these sorts of like. Well, she knew she would be better at this sort of more endurance based, the diesel engine.
Yes. And when you think of it as a race, when you look at who's been on the front for most of the day, it's been Katie Zafiris. She's been strong all round. She just hasn't backed off. I'd love to see the splits between the 3 triathlons, because I think they'd be very, very close. Yeah. She just does not seem to slow down.
No, and I think she might not even... She hasn't like flicked an elbow or even looked back at Casper. I don't think she's actually particularly bothered that Casper's on her wheel.
I finished my maths, everybody.
Okay.
And it looks like if Cassandra Beaugras finishes 3rd, and she is there currently in 5th position behind Georgia Taylor-Brown and Vicky Holland, with Summer Cook also in the mix. But if she does finish 3rd and Katie Zafiris finishes 2nd, Cassandra Beaugras will have 43 competition points from a total of possible 50, and Katie Zafiris will have 42.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, okay. But what about this second group? And I'm relying on your math again, Will. You have Kirsten Casper sitting in 4th position from yesterday's triple mix. Now let's say that Cassandra Beaugras doesn't have a great run. She's fatigued, and she finishes behind Cook. Kirsten Casper could move into 2nd position.
You know what? That's too much for me. My brain started to melt.
Okay.
So I'm curious, do we know where the back of the race is? Who is in danger of being eliminated?
I think it's Jeff Coate and Caldwell will be our last two eliminated. And the Super 6.
The Super 6 we have arrived at, and it looks like it will be Katie Zafiris, Kirsten Casper, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Vicky Holland, Cassandra Beaugras and Summer Cook. So 3 Americans continuing their dominance. There's 2 of them in shot right now. Summer Cook in 6th in the red of the fastest run split from last time we were out in Jersey.
There Katie goes. I could see she actually had 2 pairs of running shoes in transition to keep one dry. Much better transition than Kirsten Casper. And here we go, 2Ks to decide it.
2Ks to decide it, and it'll be very tough to take it out of the determined hands of Katie Zafiris, who won last time out here in Jersey. I don't know if she's had a win in between. She certainly has had 2018 without a win in terms of World Triathlon Series racing.
Yeah, she's on a mission.
She is absolutely on a mission. Good luck, Kirsten Casper. Can you run her down in 1.6 kilometres?
You saw Kirsten Casper glance across the road looking to see where 3rd and 4th position is. That's never a good sign. Yeah, that's never a good sign.
Yep. Well, but when it is Cassandra Beaugras, I think No matter how good you feel, you're always like, where are they?
Well, you've got the world champion here against Bogran, and to me, Vicky looks a lot more in this than she was yesterday in the triple mix. She's gritty. She loves this type of racing, and her endurance is definitely there. She's the current world champion.
A little mistake there with the bike, not quite getting it between the poles on the rack, and you can see that she's just lost a tiny bit of time there to Georgia Taylor Brown and Cassandra Bogran, Sophie Colwell and Emma Jeffcoat. Valiant efforts from both of them. Great racing from the pair of them.
7th and 8th position.
And they've got to say they'll be happy with that. Not the same devastation on the faces that we saw about 40 minutes ago from our earlier eliminated athletes, because they are fantastic efforts.
Cheering their fellow Brits on.
That's great.
3 Americans, 2 Brits, and a very fast French woman left in the Super 6 as we head into the last discipline. Our leader from wire to wire, Cassandra Bogran, did it yesterday with 3-stage wins. Well, has there even been maybe one of the 9 disciplines where Katie Zafiris hasn't led?
No.
Did Sophie Colwell get out of the water earlier on? Seems like a long time ago. Ever since then, Katie Zafiris has led this race, and Kirsten Casper has been the closest to hanging on, but you can see her just in shot at the top. She has pretty much given up the ghost, you'd imagine, and we can almost hand this one to Katie Zafiris, and she has earned every second of it, and this will be a sweet victory if she can hold on. One more lap now.
Well, Cassandra
on the run to go.
Yeah, Cassandra Bogran is running to hold on to second position. She has to make sure she finishes in front of all the women behind her, because Kirsten Casper sitting in 4th will move straight through if she doesn't.
Did you do some maths?
I did the math.
You don't even have a pen.
I'm an accountant.
Apparently. You hide it well, Macca.
But looking at Katie, she looks almost exactly like she did in the first run.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very, very interested to see the split. She's looked very, very comfortable from the first triathlon, and it seems that the others have actually slowed down. She's just held pace, and the casualties are right there on screen with Cassandra Bogran, who was so dominating yesterday, left out of the action.
Yeah, well, speaking of being left out of the action, I think she's left the people behind her out of the action. She's accelerated on the first leg of that run. We know how good her run is. She's probably the quickest in the women's field, but the most determined has to go to Katie Zafiris, who made a couple of little errors yesterday and still ended up in second in the triple mix, and a little bit of foreboding if she could get it right, if she could get everything dialed in, get her transitions dialed in as well. She'd do exactly what she's done here, and Kirsten Casper is trying to hold on and trying to find another gear.
Oh, well done to Katie. I mean, that first spike was really crucial in setting up the race. That's where she split the field, and hasn't really looked back since. In fact, has not looked back at all since.
Yeah, she hasn't turned around one time that I can see, that I've seen on camera, certainly, and she just looks, as you say, she's got exactly the same running style, exactly the same sort of cadence, if you like, and the same import and posture all the way through this run, and that just shows a strong athlete with a big engine who knows exactly how to pace herself, even on a course that throws as much at you as this one does. And there is Cassandra Bogran. If you want a classic running style, that is it. Ahead of Georgia Taylor Brown, who has fought her way into a clear 4th place ahead of Summer Cook, and we are not seeing Vicky Holland. There she is in the back of shot. She made that little error, if you like, in racking her bike, and that's just thrown her off a little bit, and we know how 1 or 2 seconds and little mistakes like that can throw you off the pace in racing that is as fast and as furious as this. Unlike Olympic distance racing, there's not that little bit of leeway and long distances where you can settle into your work and perhaps make up a little error. You just get shelled straight away, and that's exactly what's happened to Vicky Holland, who nevertheless has had a far superior outing today than she did yesterday.
Summer Cook in front of her in the red runners jersey. That's never good to look at with someone up in front of you. So amazing racing by all the women, incredible racing, and just Katie Zafiris just to stamp her authority like she has today. She did this last year against Nicola Spirig in very, very similar format, similar racing.
See a bit of a smile there from Katie.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible after 8 1/2 disciplines so far. We've turned short course racing into a race that lasts for over an hour with no breaks whatsoever. And Katie Zafiris has found that to her liking, very much so. Kirsten Casper, you can see behind her, looks like she'll hang on successfully to second position unless we see the last lap of her life from Cassandra Bogran, who should finish in second spot on the podium. There is Kirsten Casper, who, again, I mean, we're concentrating on Zefiris, but Kirsten Casper's race has been outstanding.
Yeah, she's had a phenomenal day. It's been very impressive. Again, super consistent like Katie. Made that sneaky move on the second swim, and yeah, that really changed her race.
Yeah, it was tactically very, very smart. I think she knew Katie was the girl to watch. She saw that in the third stage yesterday in the triple mix and positioned herself to follow her lead. It makes racing very, very easy when you can just follow the lead of someone you know is going to be always up the front.
Yeah, very true.
I don't know about easy.
Easier.
It's easier.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. Through Thunder Alley on the cobblestones for the last time, Katie Zefiris, who just looks as composed and as confident as she deserves to be after what has been an excellently executed race from her, and now she just has the one left-hand turn to go. Huge appreciation from this Jersey crowd who've turned out despite a little bit of inclement weather earlier in the day. It's certainly pretty cold out there, and into transition for the last time is who will be, if it stays as it stands, with Beaugrand in third, the repeat champion of Super League Triathlon Jersey. It looks like Katie Zefiris, and there is the rest of the eliminated athletes out there with plenty of clothes on cheering her on. But Katie Zefiris, after clawing her way back into second position yesterday and taking 21 competition points, will add 25 points to that today. A little thumbs up as she makes the turn, sees she's got plenty of room to Kirsten Casper, and she was the champion 12 months ago in our first event here in Jersey, and she's going to do it again. Katie Zefiris, after a lot of second places and a lot of podiums, gets a win in Super League Triathlon Jersey, and she has earned every second. What a race from the 29-year-old from America, and what a race also from Kirsten Casper. A big smile from her. These two women just a class above when it came to a brand new format, tactically and physically. So much grit required. And these two have found it in Spain, and a long way back to Cassandra Beaugrand, as she has indeed held on to third position. There she is. Another fantastic run. And she looks like she's sewn up second position overall. A fantastic day yesterday, announced herself onto the Super League scene, and with the support of all the athletes there standing along both sides of the finishing chute, she rounds out your podium ahead of Georgia Brown, who looks to be maybe a little bit delirious, but also incredibly happy.
Yeah, she's quite the character. She'll be very happy with that. Some of the stuff she was talking about at the breakfast table, worried she'd get eliminated in the first round, but no, she's too classy of an athlete for that.
Another great effort from Summer Cook, who just
great
finds
race
an engine to keep going. She just is always there or thereabouts. And Vicky Holland, a rise mile as she crosses over, always in a good mood, Vicky Holland, and she crosses over in sixth position and the last to finish the Enduro. So all of these women can congratulate themselves for actually finding their way to the end of probably one of the most brutal racing formats ever devised.
Yeah,
Big smiles.
But they're all smiling, so it must have been kind of fun out there.
It's easy to smile and say it was fun after it's finished, I
That's true.
suppose.
And after you win.
Yep,
in
winning,
a dominating fashion, as Katie did.
Always fun, and a picture, and they line up as Super Six, and full respect to each one of those athletes and everyone who tackled the Enduro